We'll be ready.
Hey everybody, it's the Happy Critic. I really hate intros, so let's just start talking about this movie. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. The story follows Edgin, played by Chris Pine, a former member of a secret order of peacekeepers called Harpers. Edgin eventually turns to a life of crime after his wife is killed by a red wizard, and he is left with their infant daughter Kira. While trying to make a new life for himself and drinking himself into oblivion,
Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best.
great parenting, he eventually forms a team. This team includes the sorcerer Simon, the rogue, a man named Forge, and a barbarian named Holga, played by Michelle Rodriguez. But on one mission, in an attempt to steal a resurrection tablet to bring his wife back, Holga and Edgin are caught and are imprisoned. 2 years later, the two escape and track down Forge, who is tasked by Edgin to take care of Kira. They find out that Forge is now the Lord of Neverwinter. They meet up with Forge and discover that he's working with a red wizard named Sophia. And they also discover that Forge is the one that betrayed them and got them put into prison. Sophia tries to have them killed. After escaping, Edgin hatches a plan to break into Forge's vault, steal the resurrection tablet, and get his daughter back. Overall, the story in this movie is perfectly fine and perfectly passable. Most of the characters introduced in this film do have a character arc of some sort. Whether or not they work, that's kind of another discussion. But for the most part, characters are handled with some competence. There is some subtle foreshadowing in this film, and there are certain things that are introduced, like objects or ideas, that do come back to have a payoff. The movie is pretty lighthearted, but it can take itself seriously enough when it needs to. However, the writing for this story can sometimes come off as kind of awkward and a bit disjointed. And though there is an attempt to write well-rounded characters, these characters still come off as a little flat sometimes. And speaking of characters, let's talk about them. This movie, I feel like, is another example of the writing for the characters is not the best, but the actors that play them, I think, are able to elevate them. And personally, I like the characters. Chris Pine's character, Edgin, he was pretty likable. He's charming. He's got this car salesman charm to him that just comes off very effortlessly. Michelle Rodriguez's character, Holga, I believe, she's kind of like the muscle. I wonder if she ever gets tired of being typecast as like the tough girl. Does she ever just want to play like the little like damsel in distress character? It's just something I've always wondered about her. She's actually really likable. Her and Chris Pine, they both have this fun, quirky energy and chemistry between each other that was actually pretty enjoyable.
Oh, I could kiss you.
Try it.
Justice Smith, who plays Simon, his character, I think, probably was the most enjoyable. I like Justice Smith. He's got this charm to him, and I don't really know how. It's this nerdy charm, but there's something about him that I do find likable. He's this guy that he has these powers, but he's very insecure about his powers. I wanted to see him grow into a good sorcerer. I wanted to see him gain confidence and become a hero, you know. But in this movie, I think he probably is my favorite character. The only problem I do have is Sophia Lillis, who plays, I think her name's Doric. It's a really weird name. Sophia Lillis, she played in It 1 and It 2. She is a great actress. But if I would have just seen this movie and I'd never seen her in anything else, I would be thinking she was a horrible actress. Because she is so wooden in this film. Can you have an emotion? Because that would be great. Why is she so stiff and wooden? And I don't just mean that in her acting. What's up with her walk? But the way she's walking so stiffly like a wooden board, what's going on with that? Just walk like a normal human. Did they have her like really, really tight pants? I don't know what was going on, but it was weird. And then we have Hugh Grant, and he plays the bad guy in this film. And even though Hugh Grant is usually really enjoyable, I think he brings as much charm as you can to this role. He's written pretty bland. I wasn't too impressed with his character. Not that evil of a character until he has to be evil. And it's just like, Whatever. Also, the girl that plays the red wizard, she's supposed to be really intimidating, really scary, and it would help if she didn't look like 12. But with that being said, the way she was written, I don't think was bad. They never made a mockery of her character and was always treated as if she was an actual danger and an actual threat, which was appreciated. And then we're introduced to the paladin character played by Rege Jean Page. And whoa, hello. So yeah, it was kind of hard for me to pay attention to what was going on once this guy was on screen because good hot diggity dog. This is the most handsome man I think I have ever seen. He is a treat for the eyes. Here, let's talk about his performance. He's a paladin. He's no nonsense. Yeah, he was pretty freaking charming, and he's got substance to him. He's extremely likable, but he was the best part of this movie, and I'm going to say I'm being very biased because when he was on screen, I was pretty happy.
I'm glad he's on our side.
Let's start talking like a normal person now. I really appreciate the fact that there were some practical effects in this movie. Some of the creatures that we see are actual people in costumes. They're not just CGI, and I'm a big advocate of having more practical effects in movies. One thing I think the film could have done a lot better is some of the choreography for some of the action scenes. The action scenes in this film just ended up feeling kind of slow and stilted, which is a shame because I think they were actually really creative and I think could have been a lot of fun. Think of kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, some of the action scenes in that film. They're very quick and punchy and energetic, and I think that's what this film should have aspired to do. Overall, this movie is just completely unoffensive. I will give credit to this movie because all it's trying to do is entertain you. It's not trying to lecture anybody about anything. And for that, I really have a hard time faulting a movie. And when it comes to kind of a movie like Dungeons and Dragons, I think people just want to be entertained. We don't want anything trying to really divide us or trying to make us think extremely hard. It's a movie that exists and I appreciate it for what it is, and I hope it does well. I'm probably never going to watch this movie again, but I mean, it's worth a watch. But enough about what I think. I want to know what you guys think. Did you guys really like this movie? You guys play D&D? Was there a lot of correlation between the games and this movie? Just keep watching movies, guys, and keep being happy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Fantastic.